Come on, man, stop that. We got kids in high school snatching stuff
Forgot
out
how high the standard
is. We got this dude playing with the ball.
I have to get Greg Olson in the show.
Get out here with that mess, man. I can see why you was on vacation. Your brain's still on.
Wow. Back to Andrew Luck and his decision to retire from the NFL. The Colts have just under 2 weeks now until the start of the regular season. That means they've got just under 2 weeks now to get backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett ready to go as the starting quarterback. Here's what the Colts GM had to say about Brissett stepping into that role.
We're not going to ask Jacoby Brissett to be Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was a unique player. But Jacoby Brissett is a winning football player in this league, and he is I think you heard what Andrew said. Jacoby Brissett is a rare leader. He is. He's a rare human being, man. That locker room loves Jacoby Brissett. They love him. I think you saw it last year when as we went through the season. This is a special guy, man. I'm excited to watch him play.
All right, see, what are your expectations for the Colts with Andrew Luck retired, with Jacoby Brissett now the guy there?
I have high expectations because I kind of have a little advantage on this. I've been watching Jacoby since he played two-sport star in West Palm Beach, playing for Dwyer High School, basketball star, and also a quarterback. Went on to go to University of Florida, transferred, and then one of my good friends, Bill Parcells, has mentored him for the last 5 or 6 years. And that's why I started watching when New England had him as a backup. I thought potentially he was going to be the guy to replace Tom Brady. They traded him when Indy had the injuries and everything. They traded him, and I don't think the football we saw from him in 2017 is a true indicator of what kind of football player he is. That season, he got hit more than any quarterback in the NFL. But I do believe they can keep their playoff aspirations, and this is still one of the franchise over the next 4 years, they're going to win. They got over $50 million in cap space available to them. The general manager, I believe, is one of the bright young minds. And I believe Frank Reich is going to be one of the elite coaches that we have in the NFL. Look at Frank, what he did with Nick Foles when they got the quarterback issues there. So for me, Frank Reich has been under the radar. His career was under the radar. Great person. But I believe in Jacoby, and I believe he's going to shock a lot of people. Before the season started, I said there's 3 backup quarterbacks that I deem to be starters eventually in the league. That's Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. That is Teddy Bridgewater in New Orleans, and Jacoby Brissett in Indianapolis. They are all legitimate starting quarterbacks. And now with the Colts, they got a top 5 offensive line. Oh, he's going to be excited about the great opportunity he's got before him.
I still think they're going to win the division. I think the AFC South is I don't think it has any terrible team in it, but I also thought the only potentially great team was the Colts with Andrew Luck. Obviously, without Luck, they're no longer a great team. But I think Jacoby was positioned as, and I think we said it a couple weeks ago, as the best backup in football. Now, the best backup in football, maybe that makes you the 25th best quarterback. So now that he's a starter, you obviously ratchet those expectations considerably. But I also don't think it's fair if people look at just what he did in 2017. In 2017, Chris mentioned the trade with New England. That happened on September 2nd. He played week 1 that year and started week 2. So he had no offseason, no time to learn the playbook, no time to get on the same page with the receivers, any of that.
And I would say half the quarterbacks in the league, of the 32 starters, a guy with no experience, you can eliminate 75% of them that would have been able to start that number week. And it speaks to his brain, his intellect, and his ability to assimilate that information and be able to play in the NFL game, Nick.
100%. And while you mentioned they were planning for Andrew Luck to be their starter this season, he's now been with Frank Reich as long as Frank Reich's been there. He had the whole offseason, and the last few weeks,
he's been taking all the first-team reps.
Right. They have been Luck's retirement obviously shocked everyone. Luck not playing week 1, I think, is what a lot of us had come to anticipate. Certainly the Colts were preparing for that possibility. So the offensive line, Chris mentioned, top 5 in the league last year. Luck was sacked a total of 18 times and only 10 times in the final 11 weeks of the season. Marlon Mack is shown to be a more than serviceable NFL running back. And their defense, I think they're one of only 3 teams that didn't allow a 100-yard rusher all year. So when those are your building blocks, and when you see for this season, the Texans still don't have an offensive line. They just lost their running back. The Titans, man, I watched that game last night. They miss Matt LaFleur, and Ryan Tannehill might be the best quarterback on their roster. You mentioned he's a starter. Marcus Mariota, I don't know what's happened to him. And the Jags would be the X factor because what Nick Foles are you getting? But I don't think the Colts, this isn't going to be, I guarantee this, when Manning missed the year and they went from the playoffs to the #1 pick of the draft. This Colts team is not going to bottom out the way that Colts team did.
We seem to have a little bit more info on Jacoby Brissett because, CC, you've been talking about him since that trade from the Patriots. He's a good leader. He's got great pocket presence. He can run a little bit, and you guys both mentioned the offensive line. How far off is he from being a perennial backup to actually being more than, say, a top 25 starting quarterback in the league?
I just believe with what they have around them, the general manager has done an amazing job. And when they got, their head coaching search, when they named Josh McDaniels the head coach, and then he decides to go back to New England, and they hire Frank Wright, the owner, the general manager, what decisions did they make? Because this is an organization that had been mismanaged for a number of years. Their personnel, they're huge on the offensive line to rebuild one of the worst units that we have in football, and they got a bunch of young players. This offseason, people thought they're going to go out, Le'Veon Bell, they're going to pay him that money, they're going to pay him $16, $17 million. Nope, no, they didn't. So we like Marlon Mack. Going to stay with him, going to draft some guys, keep building it through the draft. This team is in position to be able to win. Jacoby has one of the best starts in the league as far as I'm already a veteran, and I got some toys around me, and more importantly, they can protect me up front.
2 quick points. One is, I think now they look back on not spending all their money this offseason, I believe is a huge plus.
Sure.
Because we thought, man, you can win a Super Bowl right now. As much as I like Jacoby, I don't think you win a Super Bowl right now. I don't think you make win-now moves if you knew Luck was retiring. As far as what he's good at, what he needs to work on, the 1 year he started, he was excellent on deep passes. He was excellent throwing the ball deep down the field. He was sacked the highest rate, as Chris mentioned, any quarterback in football, 10% of dropbacks. Some of that was the offensive line. Some of that, Bill Barnwell pointed this out. He did hold on to the ball far longer than you would like to, but you would assume he's cleaned that up somewhat over the last couple years. If he gets rid of the ball quicker and cuts down that sack percentage, I think he can be an average NFL starting quarterback, which in that division, with that roster, I think can be enough to win that division.
Well, he has his work cut out for him early on. Chargers and Titans to open up the season
on the road,
starting in about 10 days. Coming up, were Colts fans out of line to boo Andrew Luck? That's next on First Things First.